Okay, so now that we have been introduced to constructor functions, which, as he mentioned, should feel very similar to what we've already been doing with objects and methods. And I noticed some of you are writing in these object method format, which is fine. Some of you are not. But this is the point where we're going to actually deepen our knowledge of object oriented programming and this idea of setting up the prototype, understanding how that works, how that method set up, but also how those chains work is really, I think, interesting and wonderful to understand. And then he does his hangman. And then he really talks at the end here about these primitives. And we that is kind of something we say in JavaScript is pretty much everything's an object. So it's good to learn that, and you start to understand some of the methods that we've already been using in that prototype chain and how it works. So to extend our knowledge, here's what I want you to do. I want you to, what we've learned so far. And I want you to write code that processes an order with multiple items ordered. Now you can choose which order, how you handle this is completely up to you. As a matter of fact, I would expect all of us, most of us, to come up with a different way we do this. But the key is you gotta use function constructors. Now you don't have to use function constructors for the whole output, but for the base order, it would make sense. Right, so you're going to output a message to the browser when the user clicks on a button, not buttons, one button. To get full points, you need to show a running total and order details and reply to two other students' posts. And this is so important, right? Write your own code here. Really give this some time, right? And because we're using the browser, you can absolutely give your Git hack link here. So I'm going to show you my output. I've been playing around with it for the last little bit just to kind of do some fun stuff for me. I didn't do anything with a style, but I just show you. Let me go ahead and just drop this real quick. I just added a button. I mean, it's actually almost hard just to add a button, meaning I wanted to add some more style, but I decided, nah, for this purpose, I'm not going to. So what I did is on my event listener, right, I processed some input and and you can see every time I did it, the two items I always ordered. Actually, I got to find, why is it my drink? Coke. Oh, no, that's right. Coke for 0. And actually, I ended up so that every time I had run it, it would determine a random value for the drink and for the burger, right? But then I did an order total, okay? And so every time I run it, but here was the key, I also kept track of the order total so that every time, right? Now again, you could talk about and definitely think about and reason about how you want to approach this. You don't have to do it like I did, but if you're gonna in order to do a sales total, you have to at least have two items, right? That you want to do here, because just having one won't quite process that, right? So I know you're probably wondering, well, Rio, how did you approach it? So I just want you to know, right? So I did an event listener. I'm just going to tell you my general thinking. I did an event listener on my button. I then called my function constructor after I determined some random values. I then populated that order total into using a prototypal inheritance or prototype method added to my order. Okay. And then every time after I processed, I ended up keeping this as a separate. Now, I could have actually used another function constructor. Con- con- for some reason, my mouth is twisted of a constructor function for this, but I decided not to because I didn't require that. And I thought, well, I just would play with that. So your output doesn't have to be like mine. Okay. But I at least want to see these components in it. And I want you to reason through, think about how you would do it. right? And if you get completely frustrated, right, post out on Discord and I'd be happy to share a little more of the detail of how I did mine. But I think given what we've done, I think you could all take a pretty good stab at this, right? So every time, boom, boom, it's doing this. Okay. So I see, so from my HTML, here's your button. Here's an output for each time my button was processed. I did a line so I could show the different orders. And then I had a different area on the bottom showing, and these are just divs here, outputting this. So you can see a little bit in the style, but obviously not much again. But you can kind of see also where we're going for Thursday night. Like imagine how you could do this with grabbing, right? How would we handle a multiple, and that's, if I didn't say this, right? Multiple item order. Okay, now in my, just to kind of come back, because I don't think I talked about this, right? You can figure out how you want to handle that multiple items. So for me, a Coke and a burger is multiple items on the order. You can determine how you handle that inside of your constructor function, but you do need to handle it somehow. Okay, so think about that. Ask me any questions if you want. Hopefully, you get your output. Do your Git hack link here. That way, we can look at what you created. And again, very important, write your own code of this one because it actually, I think, is fun. Maybe I'm kind of crazy. I'm okay with that because this was actually kind of fun just to do. It's often fun for me to kind of come up with some of these exercises. I don't know if you agree. Hopefully you do. But anyway, that's it. Week 7, Monday, learn together. I'll talk to you soon.